Good morning, guys, and welcome to another day with Zimaleta. Right now it's 5 o'clock in the morning, but I decided to make an early video for you guys because this topic is actually very important. There's actually some major changes that's going on in the actual trucking industry, and I think somehow this is going to trickle down to the expedite in one way or another. I will put my own 2 cents into this, but normally I don't watch other channels that's related to trucking or expedite myself. But there is one channel that I do follow. His name is Pirate something Pirate Trucker. Whatever that is, but I'm gonna provide a link to his channel, guys, right in the description below. Go check him out. He's actually gonna be talking about this topic in his own little way, and he's kind of like reading some news and stuff and letting you guys know kind of like what it is. But let me kind of like break it down. But don't leave my video because I actually got something interesting to add to this, and you know, my own little take on it, because there's actually some things that are going on in expediting and in trucking that are not treating us the correct way, and that is actually due to the labor laws. I think there's actually many rules that are being broken, and drivers on both sides are being taken advantage of. Finally, somebody's actually stepping up and actually doing something about it, but of course it's a lawsuit. It's a class action lawsuit that's brought down against PAM Trucking Company. I think they're like based out of like Ohio or something. And what's going on is basically, I guess, some lawyers with thousands of truckers are suing this company. And why are they suing? They want truckers that work for this company. I guess they're their own drivers, the company drivers. They're probably not owner operators. I don't know. I guess I would have to imagine it's just the company drivers. Um, However, I wish they're owner operators, because that means it's gonna trickle down to us like even faster, which should be nice. But anyways, I believe this is gonna be the actual drivers that drive for PAM, you know, trucking company. Um, what's going on is they're suing that company for not paying them for sleeping in their trucks. And I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking that, well, you're not working those hours. Well, turns out you actually are working those hours. And it seems like the judge that's actually kind of like in the process of this thing, he's actually not letting this company dismiss it, because he's saying that the DOT safety regulations, they're a lot different than labor laws. It's two different things. And they're trying to say that because the drivers are sleeping, they don't deserve to be paid. However, this is the type of job that requires you to sleep on the job. Therefore, you should be getting paid for it, because they are on company's pay time. They are in their trucks, and they have to sleep in their truck in order to, I guess, you know, continue working for that company. They don't get to go home. So it's not like they're off the clock. And this is just what I was actually talking about a few months ago, about my PDF that I actually wrote down for a while, that I was actually sharing with many of you guys, my viewers, on my channel. Right now it's actually available on my website, which is sprinterhelp.com. There's an expedite tab over there, and you can actually download it. It's a PDF that I've written about, and I actually talk about these things. Too bad I haven't able to really make any videos on that topic, because I'm like so busy doing other stuff. This is really unfortunate. You know, I really wanted to make this type of videos, so I decided not to wait on this one, because this one does not require kind of like any math, but more kind of like a discussion, and a little bit kind of like for us drivers to kind of like think about these things and maybe make a difference, you know, somehow. But anyways, just what I was kind of talking about, we are working overtime on our jobs, yet we're not getting paid overtime. Not only that, we're actually being paid less than we ever used to. So this means we don't get paid what we're worth anymore. As a matter of fact, like, we're getting paid like way less. We as expediters on my channel, and you know, a lot of you guys, if you're new to the expediters things, you know, expediters, we do hot shots. We do hot shot deliveries. The plants that guess pay us, you know, for us to actually go there and actually deliver that thing, they for the most for the most part would be shut down if they don't get that part. If they don't get the supplies they needed, their whole assembly is going to be shut down, causing them to really lose millions of dollars because everything's going to be like stopped. So they got to keep the assembly line moving. So that's how important we are. That's why we get paid as much as truck drivers. At least we used to. We probably don't. I'm not saying we're more deserving of that, but because we're not DOT regulated, because we're under 10,000 pounds, we could actually get the load there faster. And even though there's some companies out there, they require you to be a team in order for you to actually drive like non-stop. Some companies don't do that. They'll basically claim your team, I guess, to whoever's bidding the load. My company never did that, so I don't get the team run unless they basically will give it to like anybody. Then they give it to me because my company would not lie that I work for, so they would not claim I'm a team unless I am one, you know. So it's not up to me. But anyways, there's still a lot of stuff that I really want to get out. But I guess let's just focus on this for a minute. These loads, they have to pay a lot of money because it's going kind of like straight through, and you're not sleeping, and technically, I guess you're kind of like not safe at that moment because you are trying to go there directly. So it is a huge inconvenience for the driver to actually do it like that. Because what if he gets in a car accident and dies in it? I mean, was it all worth it, you know? And yet he's not even getting paid for it, like, which is kind of like crazy. But anyways, that aside, I am glad something's being done about this, where the truckers that are sleeping on the trucks, working on a company truck, they're going to get, you know, start getting paid for sleeping in the truck. Because something that I talked about in my PDF, and I did mention it before in my videos leading up to this whole thing, that we are spending all the time in our vans. We're not getting paid overtime. We're just being completely taken advantage of. It's like you don't get to go home. You're out there in the middle of the country. Your family's at home sleeping, and you're not even there. Like we live like limited amount of time on Earth, guys. Like you got a wife and kids at home, which is priceless for you, like not to be there. But yet, I mean, we have to provide and we have to pay our bills. Like we can't put a stop to that, and we're not getting paid what we're worth. That is like really crazy. That just like breaks my heart because you guys know that I'm not already in expedite, but yet like I still will basically, I don't want to say fight, you know, for drivers, but I guess I could kind of say that, you know, like not a physical fight, but like you know, for drivers to kind of like stand up for themselves and to actually start paying attention. Because I'm gonna point out this other type of thing over here. I think it is completely not fair for us expediter owner operators that work under logistics company that we work for, their authority, that we are required to pay our own milling liability and $100,000 cargo, because we are not the ones that carry that authority. The company that has their own MC is the authority, they have their own MC, DOT, they, by law, need to carry the coverages to cover that authority. Therefore, any drivers that they hire, I guess as contractors, that deliver under their authority, they are the ones that's responsible for that load. They are responsible because their authority is on your van. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want to pay for the cost of being responsible. So they roll over that responsibility onto the driver, which is completely not fair. Because driving is no longer simple. I mean, it became, I guess, a business. I mean, before, insurance was much cheaper. You just need to fuel up and you go. Here's another thing. Companies are required by law, or so I heard, somebody could prove me wrong, somebody looked this thing up because I didn't, but I've heard that it's required by law to pay drivers fuel surcharge. That is not being done by all the companies. Some companies are doing it, some companies don't. The companies that I work with, they don't pay no fuel surcharge. It's a flat fee. They take the fuel surcharge for themselves, and any money that on top of that, any kind of gains they take for themselves. Now, I'm not gonna blame him, okay? There's a lot of misconceptions going out there, but we should be getting our fuel surcharge because we are paying for the fuel. They are not paying for the fuel. We are paying for the fuel. That's why we're getting that fuel surcharge. It's money going back to supplement some of our fuel. We still are responsible for all the maintenance and upkeep, and I'm talking oil changes here, fluid changes, tire changes, stuff like that, just upkeep in your vehicle. But then there's also maintenance, like breakdowns, engine repairs, transmissions, drive shaft, rear differentials, brakes, all these things that wear and tear in your vehicle, belts and pulleys and, you name it. All that stuff breaks, and now we're responsible for that as well. So basically, guys, what is happening is these logistical companies are not playing a fair game. And this, for part of the reason, that's why I don't want to be kind of like part of it, guys. I know many of you guys said, you should open up a company and, you should be bidding like loads and stuff and people would work for it. Yes, that's true. But that means I would be becoming the same as those companies are. And I don't want to be part of it for part of the reason because of that. Because here, look at this little thing that's kind of like going on. Like, it's just completely not fair. First of all, these logistical companies, imagine it is me, right? Okay? Don't get pissed off at me though. But imagine I'm a logistical company. Here's the only thing that I done different than you. I basically just got insurance to cover my butt. For the, the minimum requirements would be probably like $300,000 liability. Probably don't even get cargo. Maybe I got it, just, maybe I got it, So I just got that, just so I could open my own authority, my own DOT. So, because I actually don't own a van, those insurances going to be like quite less expensive because I'm like not being, I guess, hazardous and driving stuff. So I'm pretty sure that those companies are going to be like considerate when they're selling you the insurance policy. So then I just build my own client base, but most of them, they don't even build a client base. Nobody has one, to begin with. Everybody starts out with a load board of some sort. Most everybody probably just goes to Selectus, even though that's a complete ripoff. But I worked in this business for over 12 years. Guess what I found? I worked sometimes for multiple companies at the same time. Guess what I found? They all see the same loads. What does that tell you? They got customers. They are looking at the same load that the other company is looking at. And they're like asking me, let us bid against each other so we're going to have a shot to give you that load. We have that right. I'm like, no. Like, why would I have you do that? They're getting pissed off at me because I don't let them fight over the load. Because, like, guess what? They're going to keep on bidding each other. Who's going to end up losing in the end? The driver, because next time they underbid, next time, the price is going to be even less. That means they're going to want to pay me less. And I don't even, do that. And I don't even think about myself. I'm thinking about everybody in general. That means it's going to, like, trickle down like a domino effect to all the other drivers out there getting paid less now because they're underbidding each other, trying to win that load. Why? Because they're looking at the load board. They're looking at the same thing. So, that being said, if I'm a company, I just open up, I'm just paying for the load board. I'm not paying for the Sprinter. So, as ridiculous as it sounds, $400 per month for a load board is a lot better than a brand new $800 Sprinter payment, don't you think? I mean, isn't that a little bit better, guys? I mean, think about it here. Me as a logistical company that wants to load you has to pay $400 for the load board, which is expensive. So I get access to it, so I could give you the load that you're going to take with your own van. You're going to take all the risk, and you're paying that expensive insurance. And all I'm doing, and I'm not like wearing boxers right now, but all I'm doing is wearing my boxers, drinking my coffee, and bidding loads, maybe with my eyes half square open in the morning, because I just woke up, for instance. And I'm like looking at your load, and I'm like, you know what? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? When, like, I don't even go, like, and do the load myself. I'm, like, just kind of, like, sitting there, and I'm thinking, I'm important? Heck, the driver is important. The whole economy is dependent on these truckers and these expediters. If we would stop driving, all of these companies, which I would almost consider like, I'm gonna actually say why I actually say that. They're gonna be considered kind of like a bunch of pirate companies, pirate expedite companies. And why is that? Like I actually think they're kind of like the scum of the earth. I know that is a loud term to say, because I'm pretty sure not all of you feel like that. But that's what it is. You guys are just basically bloodsuckers. You're sucking all the drivers' blood. Yes, they're all blood. They're family's blood. You're taking their bread money and you're basically putting it in your pocket, thinking you're important. You're not important. The drivers are important. And this is like the upsetting thing. This is part of the reason why I left Expedite. I don't want to argue with these companies. I will be back. There's a little game plan that I have planned for it. Part of it I haven't revealed yet. There's a little bit of a master plan that is going to be a little bit behind it. I'm doing it kind of like for several different reasons. One of it's to make a documentary, another one's to really document, okay? But that being said, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But the drivers are being taken advantage of. It is completely not fair, and anybody could pretty much become their own. They could get their own MC. Like, it's not hard, okay? Now let's look at this. Why am I saying these are basically a bunch of vampires? Well, because they're making us buy insurance when in fact they're the ones that have to pay for it. And check it out now. Truckers, my dad, he's an owner-operated trucker. He's got his own MC number. So he has to work with his own authority. Otherwise, they're not going to give him no load. Okay? That's like in trucking. So the company still loads them. They're still bloodsuckers. But they made you now go the extra step and get your own MC number. So he's got his own MC number. He's got his own DOT number. He's got his own trucking name on his own truck. He does not bid his own loads because he doesn't understand this business well enough to try to do that himself. So he's got these companies, bidding loads for him. But my dad is paying obviously the high, cost of the insurance and stuff like that. Like, why am I saying my dad? And it's because the truckers, most of them, it's like they already own their own business. They already have their own MC. Like, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, because there's a bunch of different these companies that sprout up. Everybody has their own little rules. But that's the way I will always see my dad work. He's got his own MC DOT in his window with his own trucking company. So it kind of like makes sense that he has to buy his own insurance. You know what I'm saying? We don't have our own MC, right? So basically, like, what is the next step? They're going to say, oh, you have to get your own MC for us to give you the load now. Like, now what? Like, these logistical companies that's already getting a brokered load, they're like already like not even the middleman. They're like the last man out there getting that load, and they're trying to get it to you. And now they're going to try to say, like, for instance, oh, okay, like, if they find a little loophole, okay, now you have to have MC number so we can actually give you this load. I mean, watch that try to happen. Try to pull that, Don't let it come to that, guys. Take control of your own expediting, your own trucking. If you have MC, use it. Start building your client base. If you have, if in expediting, you've been in it, and you want to continue being in it, open up your own MC. Because you're going to need to be in control of your own loads. Because if you're not in control, somebody else is going to be in control of you if you're not in control of yourself. And I'm not going to let anybody be in control of me. When I got into expediting, guys, I was not an expediter mindset. I thought this whole thing was a complete waste of time with trucking. Because I've seen my dad just being miserable, being with trucking. He always complained that trucking is so terrible. It took all his health. Last thing I wanted to do is become a truck driver. So I thought becoming a sprinter driver, basically, I thought it was kind of like different. I didn't want to get into trucking because I was so kind of like against being in trucking. So I bought a sprinter instead. I didn't know anybody else that was doing it. I was the only one that started actually doing it. And at the time, it actually paid pretty well. But over the time, it's like, it gotten so bad that to the point, if it's got to get any worse than this, then it's like, you have nowhere else to move. Like, you're in a corner. You're in a corner right here. you know, you can't really run, you can't hide, you still gotta feed your family. So what do you got left? The only thing you got left is to start bidding your own loads. And I'm gonna tell you guys in this video, right now actually, um, that you actually don't have that choice. Because guess what, guys? You're gonna go out there and you're gonna buy a brand new van to try to expedite, right? Thinking, oh, I'm gonna get hired better because I got that new van. Well, guess what? In 3 years from now, that is not a new van anymore. It's actually not a new van in 1 year. But why am I saying 3 years? In 3 years, you still got another 3 years to go to pay off that van. Maybe you got a 5-year loan and you're looking at you're looking at like 2 more years. Guess what happened at the same time? Some expedite company showed up. On year 3, they are already profitable. They already got customer base now, like they're already doing their thing. They got people coming in, people leaving, other people replacing them. Like they got business now, you know, because and it's like there's no cost. I could do this thing out of here. Like this is my garage here. This is my studio. If I wanted to, I could have an expedite company over here. With a few phone calls, I could already have my MC. I mean, not phone calls, but you know, you guys know what I mean. You know, I could just set everything up, and I could just be in here chilling, bidding some loads. Maybe one day I'll do that. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I really don't. I think it makes sense for me to do it, but it doesn't at the same time because it's like it's not in my heart to try to, you know, to try to bid loads and kind of like waste my life, you know, doing that as well. And I know it sounds silly, like waste my life. It's a job, you know. It's a lot better sitting bidding loads at home than you doing that load, you know, over the road and stuff. I just see a lot of, you know, I see a different future for myself. But this video is not about me. This is why I'm just gonna follow another path. But expediting, trucking, the whole logistical business, it is like one of the most profitable business like to be in. Like if this is like your thing and you want to be profitable, it is like one of the biggest. Probably the other one that's like the biggest is like real estate. I'm more a fan of a real estate. Even that has its own thing, you know. But real estate probably made like the most millionaires. But expediting, this is like one of the like most profitable things that you could do because, like especially for like opening up your own logistics company, for somebody like me, without no overhead, like I really have like no overhead. I mean, the only thing I would have is a little insurance payment and stuff like that. And I just sit like and bid loads. This would be like such a no-brainer to just like do that and just kind of sit there and make money because I literally have like no overhead. I could wait 3 years till I become profitable. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's right for these, you know, logistical companies that's springing up all the time. There's so many of them now. It's kind of crazy. To then take the drivers on and then make the drivers pay for that commercial insurance. I think that if the company gets their own MC and has the driver drive under their own authority, then the driver should not have to pay to cover their own butt basically. Because the driver is doing his job to try to deliver. It is not his responsibility to be responsible for said logistic company, you know, for them to cover their butt, basically. He's not responsible for that. He's just doing his job. He quits tomorrow. If he does a mistake anyways, he quits tomorrow, he's going to find another company. He's going to be like working over there for another authority company. So it's taken advantage because the insurance companies are really, really bloodsuckers. They just basically charging out the yin-yang, you know, for these policies now. It is one thing where you're talking about like a trucking industry. They make such different money than van drivers, you know, and it's like, it's another, to charge expediters the same thing as truckers pay. It's basically, that's how it is. When all the accidents happen, let's say like, well, I don't want to name any names, but with a major insurance company, what they're doing, they take all those accidents and they know there's losses, and they distribute all the losses amongst all the other basically people that, you know, has their policies, and that raises your rates. So that is like not fair as well, and it's not gonna really stop because all these companies, they are making drivers buy their own policies and stuff. Now there's some companies that's doing it right. Some of these big name companies, they're doing it right because they buy their own policy. I mean, there's some flaws with that too, but their insurance is a lot more reasonable. I mean, it used to be kind of like about the same, but now it's more reasonable than what the policies that I hear nowadays. So it's like now if you're having a $350, $400 policy every single month, you might be actually pretty happy with that. I would not be, but maybe you would be if you're paying $1,400 or like $1,000 per month because you try to get in it. But guys, I have people ask me about expediting and getting into it every single day on my emails. As a matter of fact, I'm a little bit tired kind of like responding to everybody. I much rather to respond through a video because it's really time consuming. Everybody has so many different questions, and it's back and forth emails all the time. And I much rather share something in a video and you just like make up your own mind, because expediting, it's no easy feat. Like it's not something that you start and then you decide to quit tomorrow, especially if you invested in a new van and stuff like that. So I'm kind of thinking that if you're gonna make that investment, then there's other opportunities out there. Like I was saying, if you got a van that you're gonna be paying up for the next 5 years, well, in 5 years, that van's probably not going to be running anymore. Like, if you were running pretty good, that van's not going to be running. Unless you've been really good about fixing it. Maybe you already traded in. Maybe it's at the junkyard, you know. But the company that opened up, that was, you know, like bidding you loads, right? In the beginning. They were like nobody in the beginning, just like you. Maybe you just had a brand new van. You don't really know the difference. You're just working for them. But in 5 years, they're going to be pretty powerful. So, as a business, they basically withstood their 3-year, you know, test of time. 5th year, they're pretty profitable, and you would want to be in their shoes, not in your shoes where you're thinking, man, I gotta buy another van because it's now 5 years old, it's got lots of mileage, it's breaking down a lot, and frankly, this company that I want to work for, they don't want no van no older than 5 years, because believe me, a lot of them out there, they want a van less than 5 years old. So I was lucky enough to work with an old van, but I would have made it regardless if the companies would have hired me or not. I would have taken another route. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way to always go about it. I went the way that I went about it, just working for all these different companies and just switched because it worked for me. Because what I wanted to do, I wanted to basically do something else than expedite. And then expedite kind of grew on me. I really like driving and stuff like that. So I didn't want to become a dispatch that loads my own self and a driver, because then it's like too much work. Because it's like, imagine, you have to be driving and you have to be bidding a load for yourself. But if I wanted to become a logistical company for a fact, then I would have taken that extra work. I would have loaded myself for those 3 years, probably picked up some loads where I could not load myself from other companies under their authority. And at least that would have made sense for me to be paying for my authority. So one of the benefits is, if you have to buy this expensive trucking policy, it's like, why not open up your MC? Because you already have what it takes to be running. So you got to be taking these loads kind of like back and forth, you know, and you grow your MC number up a little bit. Before you know it, in 3 years, you're going to be pretty much, well, you're going to be irreplaceable. You're going to be working for yourself. Either you're going to be just working for yourself, or you're going to have people that's working for you that are new in the business, or they're not willing to put in the work to actually open up their own company. But guys, it's not hard. All it is, it's like you get your own MC, you get your own DOT, you start off with load boards and select this. They changed the name. I don't even know their new name anymore. But they changed the name. If you look up Selectus, you're gonna land on their page anyways. It's gonna like redirect. So you could choose them. And I'm not promoting them. There's a bunch of free ones out there, so maybe try those first. But Selectus, it's like $400 per month. If they haven't raised their rates, most likely they have by now. I don't know. But that's a lot better than paying for a new van, because that van's gonna depreciate, and you won't be able to find a job anymore when it breaks, and it's actually ultimately costing us a lot of money. Guys, if we actually think about, okay, I always calculate stuff, okay? I know that we as drivers, we spend anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 per year just in fuel alone. Just think about that expense, okay? That is actually more than you would be spending money for Selecta. So it seems like that's expensive. It's like in the mind, it's like, oh, that's so expensive. But it's like, we're having a Sprinter payment, that's expensive. We have the insurance payment, that's expensive. You know, we have the fuel, that's expensive. It's like one of the biggest expenses. And now we get the breakdowns. It's like, hello. I mean, aren't we as drivers paying more expenses than these logistic companies? Isn't it a no-brainer for us to get into business for ourselves? Because guys, where am I going with this? Now, if you open up your own shop, right? Think about all these other little expediting companies. For instance, like mine, if I would have had one. It would have to close down shop because guess what? Not so many stupid drivers anymore that wants to just, you know, work for somebody and be taken advantage of, because they are being taken advantage of, because they're offered really cheap rates, because these companies are money hungry. They just want to put money in their pocket because they could care less if you went breaks tomorrow. They don't care about you. You're just a number to them. As a matter of fact, I work for some companies. They answer to you by number. They call you some number and that's it. You're a number to them basically. So if next week somebody else gets hired and they're better than you, they're gonna get the loads. You're not gonna get any loads. If you decide that you don't like it, well,